9.9 million. It is the most viewed NCAA Division I women's college basketball game ever. It beat the Daytona 500, Alabama and Kansas State at the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl. It beat the Raiders and Steelers on Christmas Eve. We no longer have an excuse, Kelsey, about women's sports being not important. We have stats that shows that that's not true. We have players now that we can follow and that we can choose sides on who it is that we like. It's time to give them the respect that they deserve, in my opinion.
76ers head coach Doc Rivers, he said, no need to debate, no need to talk anymore. It's over.
Well, Doc Rivers had some 3-1 leads, and he probably thought them series was over, and teams came back on him. So I don't know if I'd be trusting his word right about now. but my vote
came out with the fire.
You took a shot just now.
A straight shot.
I play a jerk on TV sometimes. I'm not one in real life, trust me.
You point to teams, Hawks, everybody where, there's frustration. It's not unusual in the NBA. There's only one winner and everybody else loses. I was talking to Kyrie, and it's like if KD had half a shoe size smaller, we're in a whole different universe. And so that's just the nature of the industry. These guys, haven't made the first time in 16 years. And yet they've got, HB and others that have been with them and stuck with them. And so, that's the NBA. People are going to get frustrated. The best competitors are frustrated. Dirk, when we lost, never left the season happy. We didn't always have great chemistry every single season. That's just the nature of the NBA.
Okay. Welcome to Brother from Another. And before we even get into what Mark Cuban said, the other stuff, the nature of the league, you first. You want to go ahead and do it? Because I think we agree on this. I'll just tell you this. Natalie, when I was, I think I was 12 or 13, my sister went to Boston University. And so we were driving up from Ohio to Boston. And on the way back to Ohio, we stopped by the Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I remember, I'll never forget it. I remember seeing one of Bob Lanier's shoes in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He had a sneaker in the Hall of Fame just because of his shoe size. But damn it, the Lanier shoes got to go out. The Durant shoes got to go in. I have never heard so much about a damn shoe in my life. Oh, if it had been another half shoe. It was a half shoe size. The shoe. Oh, the shoe. Oh, come on, Natalie, I know you feel me on this one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Can we stop talking about the shoe?
We are in agreement about the shoe. The amount of excuses made for Kevin Durant will never, seems to amaze me. Be better. And so, therefore, you don't have to worry about shoe sizes, okay? And he's a great player, but I'm just saying, we're going to stop making these excuses for him. He doesn't need them because he's a great player.
How many years can we go? So now we're in 2023. We're all set for 2023. I'm sure there are lots of shoe excuses in 23. Can we go through 2024 without hearing a reference to the shoe? Can we do it? Can we get a whole year? Because that happened in what? Was it 2021? When the shoe happened?
I doubt it because he's already getting excuses made for him. I mean, the fact that he got swept last year keeps being overlooked, and apparently now the Suns are the team to beat, and no one wants to see the Kevin Durant Suns, and now people have to prove that they can beat them. Well, I'm just saying, Kevin Durant got swept, the Suns folded to the Mavs. I don't know why we're believing in them so much versus other teams who have done it. So I don't want to hear all that. But back to the Mavs, back to the Mavericks. We'll get to all of that, but back to the Mavericks.
Yeah, well, back to the Mavericks. We'll get back to the Mavericks. And before we get back to them, I just want to say hello. Welcome to Brother from Another. This is how we do it.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in, whether you're consuming us on YouTube, whether you're watching on Peacock TV, or listening on Sirius XM Channel 85. We appreciate you. You are family. You are here. This is how we get down. So, Natalie, the Mavericks are kind of I'm glad Cuban made the Kevin Durant reference because the Mavs have a little Kevin Durant in them, in that there's always an excuse. There's always something, if we had this, we had more time with Kyrie and Luka. It's the nature of the NBA, as Cuban said there. Things didn't break our way. We're doing all right, whatever it is. But this was a failure. This trade for Kyrie Irving, it was a big risk. And I'm never going to knock anybody for taking a big swing. Go ahead, shoot your shot. The Mavericks shot their shot, and it was bad. It's not going to work. They're probably not going to bring back Kyrie Irving. If they wanted to bring back Kyrie, he doesn't want to be there. What do you make of the Dallas Mavericks as we see them trying to fight just to get into the play-in round?
Yeah, I mean, they won last night, and so instead of the Kings ending their misery and giving themselves a chance to become the second seed, they left the door open for the Mavericks. But I just think the failure shouldn't be framed around Kyrie. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but he's an easy target by people, oh, it's Kyrie. But I don't think the issue is Kyrie, like Mark Cuban indicated, they do want to sign him. He wouldn't say whether he would dole out a max contract for him, but they want to keep him. I mean, I don't know who they go after if they don't try to keep him, but they lost a lot of the pieces they would need around a Luka and a Kyrie for the team to still thrive, and that's part of the problem. They let go of Brunson, right? And he's thriving in New York.
Right.
So that's part of the problem. So, and also just the fact that Cuban is saying all of these things, like this is why I say he's the culprit and Luka, because he's just too involved. He's making too many decisions. He's doing too much in this organization. And
he always has.
Always has. And I just think we have to start examining Luka. And I don't mean to pick on him, but.
Oh, come on. Oh, bring it on.
Yeah, but I'm just saying look how many teammates they've gone through and it hasn't worked out with him. You had Porzingis who wasn't happy. We don't know if Kyrie's happy, but I think he's going to still explore the market. Brunson left. He didn't stick around there or try to stay with him. And maybe it was just money, but there's some rumors. I don't know if they're substantiated, but playing with a guy like Luka can be challenging in terms of the way he dominates the ball, the way you have to play there. You have Tim Hardaway who was calling out that, there's no leadership between Kyrie and Luka, but it's Luka's team. So Luka should be the one leading. So I just think that we have to stop this, oh, it's Kyrie's fault. Kyrie just got there. There were things ailing the Mavs long before Kyrie got there, and I just don't think that we can target him as the issue.
Yeah, I wouldn't target Kyrie, but I also am surprised that you're saying these things about Luka because you start off, not because Luka is sacred, a sacred cow. I'm saying you start off by saying Mark Cuban is too involved.
Yep.
And then you go at Luka.
It's the two of them.
But now I think it's one of them. I think you got to pick one because I think the actions of one, and this is what you tell me if you disagree with my logic here. I think the actions of one affect the performance of the other. And I'm going to say the one is Cuban because he's the owner / team builder. He employs team builders. He's in consultation with team builders. And with guys like Luka, LeBron, go all the way back to AI in his day. When you have guys who are so ball dominant, you got to figure out how to put pieces around them. It's not just, hey, get 3 or 4 talented guys. It's going to work. LeBron had the same thing early in his career. You bring this guy in with LeBron, and if you remember, it was early. This is before Miami. You'd say, well, LeBron has had a lot of good number twos, but they haven't fit with him because it's not the right player. With a guy like that, you got to make sure you put the right players around him. And all the players you mentioned, with the exception of Porzingis, are guards. So Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson. Ooh, when you're around for a while, you remember them all. Jalen Brunson, guard. Hardaway, guard. Kyrie, guard. And so Luka's got guard skills. He's going to have the ball, so it's going to be tough for another guard to roll with him or somebody who needs their touches constantly as much as he does.
But that's proven not to be a recipe.
If it's not tough for that player, it's going to be tough for the team. What do you mean proven not to be the recipe?
I mean, that's not a recipe for success for winning. Who's won like that? Even when LeBron was with the Heat, that wasn't how it was. I mean, the Lakers is probably the closest comparison you could say. Where,
but what do you? But I'm just no. I just to be clear, what is the what? You said
what I'm saying is like this, him just being ball dominant and controlling everything, right? That's not a recipe. Like, so, and there's evidence that Luka can play off the ball, right? Like from when he's with the European team. So I just think that they have to change the way that they want to play. And it's unclear to me, so I don't want to put this on Luka. It's unclear to me if this is the way Luka wants to play or if this is the way that he's being forced to play. But I think some of this is by design, right? It's like the year with Russ and the triple-double. That was in part, too, by design. Like, they would do things on the court to get him that extra rebound or to do stuff. And I think they want Luka stuffing the stat sheet. I think that's part of the way that they want to play. I don't think it's the ideal way to play, but I think the Mavs and or Luka want to play like that. And so as a result, then it's, do the other players who are on the team with him like that style of play? Do they enjoy it, right? And then if if that is what you're going to do, then you have to have the right players around him to complement that, right? And unlike LeBron, Luka's not a defender. He's not a defender. So you have to have defensive pieces around him. And they don't. They traded those to get Kyrie Irving.
Speaking of LeBron. Speaking of LeBron, let's talk about last night. I was really looking forward to this, Natalie. Los Angeles, the Lakers with a road game at the Clippers in Los Angeles, and Russell Westbrook was back. Were the Lakers at home or the Lakers at home or on the road? I think they were.
They're both home. They're both home. It's in LA.
Okay. All right. Anyway. Russell Westbrook got his 14 points in. Mm-hmm. He's playing for the Clippers, and the Clippers just jumped him. And now the Clippers have ascended to, you mentioned it earlier, that very scary number 5 slot in the Western Conference. Are your Warriors ready for that number 5? Do they want to see it? Do they want to see Phoenix locked in at 4? Anyway, I know we'll talk about that later, but
no one cares about them. Y'all do.
I know. I just wanted to get you going. But the Lakers are sitting here still fighting for play-in position when they thought this game was really meaningful for them. They did not come to play. I still think they are a team that you have to. I'm not afraid of them. Nobody's afraid of the Lakers, but I think they're a team you have to pay attention to. Even as a play-in participant, how do you see the Lakers, Natalie?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I want to say I don't want to hear about all this tired and fatigue and schedule. Like, they haven't beaten the Clippers the last 11 times that they've played them. So, like, at some point, it's just the Clippers are the better LA team until proven otherwise because you haven't beaten them. I will at least acknowledge, though, that it was a back-to-back. So going into that game, because actually on my podcast I said, I think the Clippers are going to get that game because the Lakers are coming off of a back-to-back. They played the night before, and they went to overtime with Utah. Remember, these guys are older, and, Anthony Davis is not old, but, his body. So, you can't get, 2 really great LeBrons or 2 really great Anthony Davis games. They need the time off. That's why they should be considered a threat if they make it into the playoffs. Because once you get to the postseason, those games are not, night after night. And if you have Anthony Davis, who's fully fresh and healthy, and you have LeBron able to get rest, then yeah, they're a formidable duo. And that team could maybe push, certain teams. So that's why they should be a threat. And I'm sure certain teams at the top wouldn't want to see them. But, I think they're probably going to be a play-in team at this point. The Clippers control their own destiny now, and the Warriors control their own destiny. And those are the only 2 teams ahead of them who they could try to catch. So, and the schedules for both of those teams, are favorable for them. The Clippers do have a back-to-back in there, but it's a favorable schedule. So it's going to be pretty hard for the Lakers, I think, to catch them. So they're probably going to end up, there we have the schedule. So, I mean, if you look, the Warriors have the Kings. That's going to be a big game, though, for the Kings. And it's in Sacramento. And we already know about the Warriors' road struggles. But they have the Kings and they have the Trailblazers. It could be an early preview match for the Warriors and Kings. And then the Clippers, they have the Trailblazers and Suns. Now, again, that is a back-to-back. But the Suns have locked in the 4th seed, Michael. They've locked in the 4th. So they have no reason to show up for that game against the Clippers. And if you're the Suns, by the way, you want to play the Clippers because Paul George may not be back early to start that series. They don't want to play us. They want to play the Clippers.
Well, I just want to point out, Natalie, I'm not going to say any names before we bring on Charles McDonald in a few minutes. I just want to get this out here. Somebody told me, I can't remember who it was, that you said the road struggles for the Warriors. Somebody told me that's not real.
I said
that was a quote.
I said it. It's not real.
Not real.
It's not.
It's not real. It's real. What do you mean
real.
It's not real? They played almost how many games so far? 39, 40 games on the road?
Well, tell me that once the postseason comes. When the postseason comes and the Warriors continue their trend of winning a game on the road.
No, because we will. That's it. Postseason changes everything. I agree with you.
Okay.
But right now, as I look at this is not a figment in front of me.
Okay.
I'm pushing.
Yeah.
I can touch this. I can touch this bad road record.
Okay.
Why is it not real? They've done it. I'm saying, but they've earned the record that they have, which is terrible.
They have.
What do you
earned
mean
it.
it's not real?
When I say it's not real, right? If I go through and explain all the differences, remember, I follow the team. I talk about them after each game. So I know all the different things going on. I know who's missing on a certain night. I know different things. So to like most people, if I just explain the reasons why, they're going to be like, oh, it sounds like you're making excuses. They're not here.
It would be.
Right.
That would be fair.
But those are
that's a lot of losses. You ain't talking about 5 losses or 10 or 20.
But Stephen Curry and Andrew Wiggins have missed a large portion of the season. So you're asking them to win without some of their best players and key players. And the Warriors, in my opinion, are the only team treated like that. Like when Kevin Durant was out and the Suns started losing, people were like, oh, they're going to be fine when Kevin Durant gets back. But for the Warriors, it's like, oh, well, they keep losing. Well, yeah, no. SHIT, like people are out. When you're playing a team.
Well, if you're going to spell it, you might as well say it. You're spelling it.
I'm just saying, it's like trying to be good now. So that's my point. So that's why I'm saying it's not.
The kids these days can spell.
Look, Andrew Wiggins is back. He's back, and they are intact. He's not going to play for these final 2 games, but he's going to be there for the postseason. And they got Gary Payton II, and that's why I'm saying the Warriors are now whole. The road record isn't real. Don't believe it. The things you need on the road to win, they could not compensate for without their guys. That's really the difference. Because your players who are stars, they're gonna play well on the road. But your role players and stuff like that, they play good at home. So it's understandable why there's a disparity in the road record. But if they were whole and they had their guys, which they have not had throughout the season, they would have a better road record.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait until the postseason begins. We've got either Golden State, if they're up to it, going to Phoenix in round 1. If they're up to it.
They're up to it.
They're about it.
Stop this nonsense. They're up to it.
Or Golden State going to Sacramento to take on Mike Brown and the Sacramento Kings. I love it. Postseason, right around the corner.
Yep.
I'll tell you who else is right around the corner. My brother from another, Charles McDonald. We'll talk some football.
Yep.
Players that I will back up. Number 1, I'll back up Deshaun Watson. It goes without saying, me and Deshaun Watson's relationship, he was on my 707 All-Star team. I've grown to admire the person, the athlete that he is, going through a lot of turmoil, but I believe that's behind him, and I know I can provide services for him on the field as well as off the field. My number 2 person will be wherever Lamar Jackson decides to go. Number 3 will be Justin Fields, another C1N product. Number 4 will be Tua Tagovailoa. Number 5 will be Malik Willis, another C1N All-Star representative. Any of these rookie quarterbacks, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson, any one of those guys, I would be happy to back those guys up. Who we got? Number 7, Jalen Hurts. Number 8 would be Aaron Rodgers. Number 9 would be Josh Allen. And number 10 would be Sam Howell, another C1N alumni.
I love it. I love it. You know, I said to Natalie and Charles out there, like Cam just entertains me. Like I used to just really go in and parse, like, what did he say or why did he say that? Now I'm just here. I'm here for the entertainment. Charles McDonald, I don't know about you. All the people he says he would back up, I think his list is too short. Maybe the list of people he would want to back up. Yeah. People he needs to. The people he would have to back up. Listen, next page. Charles, what do you think of this Cam Newton production?
Well, I guess it's just mostly a shout to the black quarterbacks in the league, and then Tua and Aaron and Josh and Sam Howell. I gotta say, if I was Cam Newton, and I know that, you know, he's had a pretty unceremonious end to, you know, the past few years of his career, I'm still shooting higher than being a backup to Sam Howell or Malik Willis. Malik Willis ain't even going to be the starter for his own team. Like, we've seen the Titans have entered the discussions of trading up to number 3 overall to pick a quarterback. So, Cam, you can think a little bit higher of yourself than backing up those guys, but I can't believe that Cam has gotten to this point where he's just saying, like, I will come be a backup when, I don't know, like coming from the heights that he had in his career. I think I would just rather retire.
You know what, Natalie? I think Natalie and Charles, I just think he really misses playing football. I think that's really what it comes down to, and that's why he's saying this, just to get the conversation going. Natalie, I don't know if you remember when Cam was cut from the Patriots and he did a sit down with his father. We want to talk about entertainment, high entertainment. He's going back and forth, and he tells his father, he said, you know, it's too bad the Patriots did this to me because I would have backed up Mac Jones. And his father was like, Cam. You know you lying. He's like, okay. Maybe I would do it. Cam Newton, Natalie, is nobody's backup, is he?
I mean, no, but maybe in this NFL he is, right? I mean, I agree that he should still be on an NFL team. You know, come on, he can back someone up at a minimum. Like there are guys who are backups who no team wants to put out there. So I agree with him. I also, I guess, can understand maybe the hesitance, but I think he should be playing in the NFL. So I understand him wanting to do this. I also agree with Charles that I still would be pushing myself as like someone who can play and start for a franchise. So I don't know what's going to happen with Cam. The biggest issue I had with him was saying I admire Deshaun Watson. Like, I don't want to hear all of that. Yeah, that was crazy. Like, you could have just been like, Deshaun Watson. I mean, I would have left him off the list, but all the I admire him and he's going through struggles and trying to gloss over it. Like, nah, I'm not trying to hear all of that. Like, at that point, I didn't even want to hear anything else you had to say.
Yeah, okay. And why is he going through struggles, Cam? Why is Deshaun Watson going through struggles? It's just like the external forces have all, colluded against Deshaun Watson, and now these things are happening to him. Now, Cam is a quarterback without a team. Let's talk about a team that officially doesn't have a quarterback. That would be the Baltimore Ravens. Let's hear some interesting exchanges between the Ravens general manager Eric DaCosta, members of the media, and even PR staff thrown in there. Let's check this out.
I understand the need to ask those kind of questions. I think just out of respect for the process, this is a draft luncheon, and we're going to try to keep as much of this discussion as we can to the draft, to the coming weeks, building the best football team we can build. So I understand those questions. I think we've spoken about this situation probably 5 different times this spring in various different press conferences and such. So we're going to try to just kind of defer to those questions and move forward to the draft.
With respect to this being about the draft and everything, just with the Lamar stuff that's going on.
Hey guys,
are you all looking at quarterbacks
differently? Alex, if you can, this is about the draft. Just move move off the
Hey, listen. Don't try to shut me down. Charles, right? Charles,
Right.
you ever been in those situations? You're just trying to do your job, and here comes I guess, in all fairness, you're trying to do your job as an NFL reporter and PR representative representing the team, trying to do their job, and hence you have the tension. What did you make of that yesterday, Charles?
I thought the reporter was asking a fair question, because if you are going to be a team that trades away, let me repeat, trades away Lamar Jackson in his prime, you need to have an answer for that. You can't just walk into the unknown and say, well, we don't have Lamar, whatever, we'll figure it out. No, the draft is in 3 weeks. This is a strong quarterback class at the top. It's absolutely a relevant question for where the Ravens might find themselves up, or might end up winding up in a few weeks. And just because they don't want to answer a question about Lamar Jackson, well, are you going to go back into this division that has Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, who looked, fairly promising as a rookie, and Joe freaking Burrow, and just say, don't have a quarterback, but we'll figure it out in a couple years? You're going to fall behind so fast that if you do lose Lamar, you have to address that in a big way this year, which is why it is a relevant and fair question for the reporter to ask.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, well, first of all, I just love the look on the faces. And they just seem so on edge and tense about it. So I'm like, yeah, this Lamar thing is starting to get to them. So I love that, because I want Lamar to win in this situation. But I'm curious, Charles, I mean, do you think they could really trade him? And if they do, not so much where Lamar might go, but what quarterback do you think they might be focusing on? I know they said it depends on their board, but who would they select?
Well, I think it all depends on how high they can get in the draft, right? Because the way that the board is stacking out, we might see 4 quarterbacks go within the first 4 picks. Because obviously Carolina, you don't trade up to number 1 if you're not going to take one. Houston needs 1 at 2. And then at 4, Jim Irsay signaled back in January that the Colts' new head coach will be working with the rookie quarterback. So that's three of the first 4 picks. And if you don't want to lose out on one of these top guys, you might have to trade all the way up to 3 with Arizona. Or what you could do is kind of skip the line and just trade number 4 to Indianapolis outright, give him Lamar Jackson, and then you're in a spot where maybe you can take Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. But as we talk about this, isn't this a tough pill to swallow? We're going to trade away Lamar Jackson, who is only 26 years old and has a unanimous MVP under his belt, and start over with the rookie? Just pay the guy. Come on. You know how bad that offense got the second that he stepped away. I think it's just kind of crazy that we've even gotten to this point.
It is.
Yeah. I listen to Pro Football Talk every morning. Every morning I listen to Mike Florio, Chris Sims. So this morning I heard Sims talking about the limited market for Lamar Jackson and how he understands the market. Now, I'll take full disclosure. Sometimes when I'm listening, I'll just text my brother Sims. I'll be like, I can't believe you just said that, man. I can't believe you said that. Hey, I'm waiting for him to say, look, you do your own damn show later. Leave me alone. You do your damn show when you do your show. But he said there's a limited market for Lamar Jackson, which he understood. I said, no, I'm thinking, I didn't text him this today. I don't understand it. Because as you just said, Charles, there may be 4 quarterbacks going in the first 4 picks. Maybe at the very least, to be conservative, 3 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks could realistically go. And a couple of years ago, we had 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 15. So my evidence tells me that this is a league that's desperate for somebody who can sling it, somebody who can play quarterback. Everybody's desperate. Most teams are. And there's no market for a guy who's 26 years old, going to be 27 in January, and has done some incredible things in his young career. There should be a market for Lamar Jackson. I'm wondering if you think New England, is New England that market? Because we heard some rumblings that Mac Jones and Bill Belichick aren't getting along. Maybe you flip Mac Jones to Baltimore, throw a pick at him or 2, get Lamar Jackson in New England. You see that happen?
Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Patriots, right? Because what's crazy about the scenario is we almost never, ever see a quarterback of this caliber kind of be on the open market, you know, to a degree. I mean, we had Deshaun Watson getting traded last year, but that was way different than what we're dealing with right now. So, you know, I think the Patriots make sense, but if you're the Ravens, and we've seen that, you know, the Ravens and the Patriots, they have somewhat of a little bit of a rivalry here where they've had to go through each other to kind of reach the top of the AFC over the past decade or so. We've already seen Lamar play the Patriots a handful of times. He played pretty well against them. Do you really want to hand that to Bill Belichick? And if you're the Patriots, you got to think it isn't going to be a normal situation where we're just trading for a guy who's on the tag and it's only going to be 2 first-round picks. What we're going to do is we're going to sign him to a contract. The Ravens are going to match, and then we'll work out a trade from there. Because once you work out the trade from there, you can tack on more first-round picks. The Ravens, they can't trade away Lamar Jackson for 2 first-round picks. It's going to be 3+. If you're going to trade him within the conference versus a team that you play a lot, I think that price might be a little bit steep for the Patriots. But it is a good fit for them.
Charles, I don't know where you land on this because everyone's been throwing the C word around, collusion. But I just don't understand. Like, are the Ravens, and I guess it's really up to the ownership, probably not like anyone but them, but are they really willing to like part ways with a talent, a generational talent like Lamar, just to stand firm on this position with the other owners about guaranteed contracts?
Yeah, I would say that they are. These are NFL owners that we're talking about, man. Okay, we go back to the uncapped year that they had in like 2011 or something, or 2010, where they were dealing with a CBA negotiation, and there was no cap. Like when you're playing Madden and you turn the salary cap off, you can spend as much money as you can. And Jerry Jones and Dan Snyder, they did that for that season. They spent as much money as they could because there was no cap on how much money they could spend. And the other owners actually punished them for it, for spending money on their football teams. And the year later, they each got hit with $10 million fines. So the owners, they will absolutely band together to at least protect the bottom line of like, we need to have the financial upper hand at all times in these negotiations when it comes down to it. Because not only is, if Lamar Jackson gets this deal and he can get close to fully guaranteed money, we got Jalen Hurts coming down the pipeline, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. Why wouldn't those guys ask for the same exact thing? As they should, by the way. I believe that all these guys should, because once you open the floodgates on that with the Deshaun Watson deal last year, why the hell would I not ask for that? I didn't do that stuff, and my play is on a comparable level. So I think the ask is fair, and I think the owners are also going to stand firm on, no, we're not doing this. That was a blip on the radar, and you guys are going to get back to like 50% at best.
All right, Charles, before we get you out of here, let's see, what's today? April 6th. And so you have a mock draft 6.0. I don't know how many you're going to get up to. You got 10 in you? You got 12 in you? I don't know how many versions you have coming up. But in this draft, you've got C.J. Stroud going first, and you got Anthony Richardson, thankfully, going number 6. I'm gonna tell you why that's good. Because I have a bet with Connor Rogers that he's going to go in the top 5. I said, no, I said he's not going in the top 5. So you had him at 6. So I hope you're right and Connor is wrong. I don't know what we're betting on, but it's going to be something.
I'm about to say, what's the terms?
Like you said with the Ravens, they just tack on things. It's supposed to be 2 first-round picks. We'll just tack on some more stuff after I win the bet. So tell me a surprise or two, or like a nugget in your top 10 that just kind of stands out to you as a little bit of a twist.
Here's something that I project that will happen that I don't think will happen. Will Anderson going 3 to the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are going to pick number 3 overall, just for the reasons that we talked about earlier in terms of a trade happening at the top of the draft. And if you look at the Cardinals roster, they are kind of in a situation where they just need bodies and they need talented players. They've had a pretty quiet free agency period, and they lost some guys that really mattered to their roster in free agency. So, I don't really predict trades in the mock draft because, man, it's just not a good use of my time, but I would be surprised if the Cardinals stand firm at number 3 and take a player there, because they're going to have a lot of trade offers to get into that 3rd spot and jump Indianapolis for a quarterback. We've already heard Tennessee is a team that can do it, and there's always surprise teams that can jump up there as well.
Hey, Charles, one thing to say really quick. I read through your full draft for the first round, and I have an issue with you not having Hendon Hooker going at all in the first round. So I just wanted to call you out for that. But
we can talk about that on another show.
Yes.
I'm not a big Hendon Hooker guy. I hope he gets his money as a fellow Black person, but that's not the quarterback that I'll be drafting.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a different conversation already.
Yeah.
We should have started off there. I didn't know you had such strong anti Hendon Hooker feelings. Hendon Hooker is cool with me. Why? Remember this, Natalie, at the Super Bowl? My man came up, he was presenting gifts, and I think I forgot it there. He was in Arizona. He had some beans. He put out baked beans.
Yes.
Baked beans. Come on. Yeah, baked beans.
Okay, that might put him in the first round for me.
I think he's gonna go in the first round, Charles. But I'm gonna let you get by with that for today, since we gotta.
Yeah, we can talk about it next time.
Yeah.
All right, next time. Appreciate you, Charles. Thanks for stopping by. And I we'll see how many versions of that draft you come up with, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, hopefully not 12. If it's 12, something's gone really wrong. But I'll talk to you guys next time.
All righty. Take care,
But
Charles.
listen, people they might call you up. They might give you some scoops. You might have to change it up. All right, welcome back to the show. I love this. I love it. I do. And I know what the headline says. The headline says that there's a toxic discussion around the season's NBA MVP award, and it's taking the fun out of the race. I don't think it's taking the fun out of the race. It is adding juice and tension, excitement, absurdity, drama to the race. And I'm here for the drama. So is Sherrod Blakely and Natalie. And Sherrod, Natalie said off the air, let's bring it to the air. She wants to hear your take. She wants to hear what you have to say about this MVP award. I'm surprised that it has taken on the life that it has. I wonder who you see as your, let's say, top 3 and why in this MVP conversation.
Well, I think the top 3, I think it should be unanimous. And you're talking about Joel Embiid, obviously. I think Jokic is still right there. And Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that's your top 3. Now, if you're going by who is having the best high-impact season, again, you got to look at Giannis and Jokic. But for my money work, and I've watched all 3 of those guys play a decent amount this year, I got to go with Joel this year. And the reason I'm going with Joel is because his ability to dominate is a little bit different than those other guys. Giannis dominates because he's the most athletically gifted player on the court. Jokic has ridiculous court vision for a guy that big. Joel gives you a little bit of both of those things, and he has the ability to stretch the floor. When you look at guys his size, that's not that common. And again, I also factor in where would that team be without him? And that takes a little bit of the sizzle away from Giannis, because I still think Milwaukee would be a pretty good playoff caliber team. And Jokic, to me, it's a toss-up between him and Embiid as far as how those teams would fare without them. So to me, if it's a tiebreaker, and if I have to give one the edge over the other, I'm going to give it to Embiid simply because it's his time. The dude has been the Susan Lucci of the NBA, runner up for MVP twice already. It's time for him to break through and get the damn award.
I said the same exact thing in my feed. It's his time. It's his time. Yeah, it is. And I do think that's a good enough reason to give it to him, because they all have the stats. They all have the play. You cannot argue that one is having some superior season over the other. So as a voter, because the NBA does not give us requirements, although next year they will, at least a games played requirement, because they don't, voters should be able to use the criteria that they want. And I think it is Embiid's time to win. He's definitely an MVP-worthy candidate.
Do we like that, though?
We can go through all his stats. And we can go. I can make other cases.
His time, though.
But it is his time. But also,
last time I saw him play, he put a 52-piece on the team that's supposed to be 5 in the defense, and they won the game. And he finally beat the Celtics, which is something that he does not do every day or every year, for that matter. So Joel's my guy this year.
And in the head-to-head, I get it. He didn't get to play against Jokic the second time, and people didn't like that. But like in the head-to-head, he owned Jokic for the game that they did play. He showed up in all of these games.
For the game.
He played
for the game.
Okay, but you know what? Jokic hasn't played like the
played.
last several games. So I get that he didn't play the head-to-head, but at that time, his body wasn't right. If Jokic is allowed to sit out games because his body isn't right, why is Joel being penalized for that? You know, like they're both sitting out games. They're big men. Their bodies are, you know, so. But at the end of the day, they all have the stats. There's no one that you can say that does not have the stats. And Embiid does both ends of the court. I don't see why this is so controversial.
Well, I'll tell you why it's controversial. Sherrod, I'm just going to tell you this. I'm going to bring you in on this. Something I've observed from Natalie, perhaps for the last 2 months, and it's been increasing. It's been increasing, and I put it in the feed. I said, put some respect on Jokic's name. Like, it's so disrespectful the way she talks about Jokic, as if, like, I can just go down here around the corner to the Y and see a guy like Jokic just compiling stats.
I guarantee you will see his gobbler at the Y.
Exactly.
He will now, does that mean that he's a YMCA guy? No, but he does not fit your cookie cutter blueprint of NBA MVP, which to me, I give him dap for being as good as he is because he does not look the part. I mean, you're talking about somebody who, you know, the look of someone who should be doing designs and costumes who was actually the star, main attraction. That's Jokic. That's him. And I give respect for that. But this year, no, it's a B. It's got to be a B.
And
but Natalie, what's up with this Jokic? What's up with this Jokic? I don't want to say it's hate.
It's not.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little.
You just did.
When I say he should be overlooked, I'm not. Look, I've said this several times, and like I'm so tired of people acting like I just hate this man because I was early on the Jokic train. Okay, I converted lots of people to him, so I'm not gonna sit here now and let people act like I don't like him. I don't think he should be a 3-time MVP, and I feel very strongly about that, and I've stated my case for that on this show many times. And when I'm saying, people are saying like, oh, you know, Giannis is being overlooked, and I do think in a way it's, for whatever reason, Giannis is a little bit being overlooked, but I'm saying it's because it's Embiid's time, and that's the reason. And if we are going to overlook one of them, to me, in my opinion, it should be Jokic and not Giannis. So I feel like the way it's shaking out, it's Embiid, and then it's Jokic, and then it's Giannis. No matter what version, I feel like everyone has Giannis third, and I would flip that. I think he should be second.
Okay. All right. Well, if he should not be overlooked, Giannis should not be overlooked. Why are you overlooking the Eastern Conference in the NBA? I told you there's an item that Sherrod would be interested in your item. You thought, in your feed, you thought I was talking about Jason Tatum. No. And Boston is the #1 seed. I was talking about your contention that the West is greater than the East. Mm-hmm. Sherrod, first of all.
But that's not what I said. I said West standings.
Well, what? Okay. So
I'm talking about the standings, meaning like the storylines, the race for it to fill out is yeah. So like I don't
thought
like.
We had something.
No, well, look, I think because the East at the top is strong, and there's an argument that the champion this year is going to come out the East, and that it's stronger. But from top to bottom in the West, it's just still more fascinating. It's more entertaining. The teams are better. What? Like, are you even interested in the East playing games?
Wait, no. Okay, hold on. More fascinating, yes. Interesting, yes. Teams are better, no. I see a bunch of mediocrity at the bottom of the Western Conference standings, or not even at the bottom. You know, really, it's like 5 through 5.
Let's go back
12.
to the West standings. Let's look at them. Because if you look at you're looking at records, but why, for example, are the Pelicans mediocre? Because Zion got hurt, but he's going to come back for the postseason, most likely, right? So, like, you're seeing mediocre records, but it's not because the teams are mediocre, and that's how the Pelicans snuck in last year.
There's a lot of mediocrity there. I mean, look at that.
They are mediocre teams.
The Mavs, maybe. Who's mediocre?
The Clippers, mediocre. Lakers, mediocre. When you're like 4 or 5 games within 500 with like a couple games left in the season, guess what? You are mediocre.
Okay.
It's just a fact. I mean, right now in the Western Conference, the only team that you can realistically look at and say that, damn, they might be the last team standing. Denver, Memphis. I love Memphis' talent. I just think Memphis is too damn young. And
none of those 3 top teams will be, Sherrod. You don't believe that.
Now, Sacramento will not. Sacramento is Sacramento. At some point, the clock will strike midnight, and that carriage is going to turn into a pumpkin, and they're going to be the Sacramento Kings that Shaquille O'Neal has always talked to us about. They will in that team. And shout out to Mike Brown for having a great season. You should get Coach of the Year, but your team ain't going to go for the playoffs.
Yeah, so you think who do you think's coming out the West, Sherrod? You think it's Denver?
I think it's Denver, and I don't want it to be Denver because I don't think they're that good, but I think they're going to be the last team standing.
They won't.
I do.
Well, I promise you, they won't be.
I hope you're right.
Ooh, promise. You said you promise it won't be Denver. It won't be Denver. Hey, Sherrod, you know who she thinks is going to come out of the West, right?
I just know it's not Denver.
The Warriors? The Warriors?
Yes.
Well, are they going to play all the games in San Francisco? Because if they can do that, then you got a chance. The minute they got to go to the it's like, whoa.
I hope you all believe so much in that road record. Just do it, because then when they win, you're going to be like, ooh, crying.
I just know the road record.
Are the Celtics going to be able to win a 7-game series versus the Bucks now that they gave up the number 1 seed? Is that going to happen?
Well, let's put it this way. They played Milwaukee 3 times this year. They beat them once. Then they went to overtime with their B unit and almost beat them. And then they just smacked them around for a 41-point win like a few days ago. So I think they've got a very good chance of winning that series. But again,
without home court?
Without home court. Because the thing about Milwaukee, here's the thing about Milwaukee. They look like a team that should have done a little bit more of breaking up the band this offseason. Because Chris Middleton, you just don't know. You literally have no idea what you're going to get from him health-wise.
That's right.
Wesley Matthews. I mean, let's put it. Wesley Matthews, Dragic, Jay Crowder. This would have been a slamming team like 4 or 5 years ago. Slamming team. All the greatest hits were on this team. If they were on this team 4 or 5 years, it'd be great. But those guys, they just don't. They don't bring it like they used to. And Giannis is a phenomenal. And he's always going to be in the MVP conversation because he's that good. But I just don't think this is Milwaukee's year. I really don't feel it. I don't feel it.
Well, I actually agree with you on that. I was just messing with you. I wanted to change the conversation from the Warriors' road record, but
just trying to throw you off the set.
But I agree with you.
Especially, it's funny. Especially she wanted to focus on the home court. In the East, but we don't. It doesn't matter. Road in the West with the Warriors. It doesn't matter.
I will restate this.
See that little shuffle? I got you. Okay.
The Warriors are the only team right now in this conversation who has the history of winning 1 game on the road in every playoff series they've ever played in. And to me, that means much more than an anomaly of a season where they did not have a good road record this year. So when I say it's not real, and I don't give a damn about that road record, they are real, and that's it. Well, and again, Andrew Wiggins is back, baby. Andrew Wiggins, he's back. He's back.
That'll help. But the operative word and all
the Celtics aren't happy he's back.
The operative word is history, as in it happened back in the day.
Happened last year. Happened last year.
It did. It happened last year. And the question is, you said this aberration. Did you say aberration or anomaly? You said anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
This road record. Maybe it's not. I mean, they've had some excuses. I'll give you that. They've had some excuses. They've had some good reasons. They've had some misfortune. But they've also, Natalie, I think they've had a coaching staff, in all seriousness, I'm not even trolling here. I think they've had a coaching staff that has messed with the game too much and has gotten away from them. Like these times early in the year where Steve Kerr is like, well, no, I'm not going to play my guys tonight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, check the NBA schedule. We're an older team, so we're not going to play. And just randomly, messing with the game earlier in the year, I think he helped prevent them from getting into a good rhythm. And then when they really needed to summon it, at times they couldn't.
They couldn't.
I think it's on Kerr a little bit too.
I agree. You already know how I feel about that. So I agree. I think they played around too much. You know, like, to me, you get the record good where it needs to be in the beginning instead of all this fooling around. And then later, if things happen, you have the cushion like you did last year. Because the Warriors, after a certain point last year, they were a 500 team, but they had the cushion from earlier in the season to hold them.
Well, when I look at this Warriors team, I mean, it's one thing to not be a very good road team. They're beyond that barrier. They are on the other side of the do not enter portion where the road is going to break down and there are potholes and there are things that they're going to crash. This is horrible, Natalie. I mean,
It's a horrible record.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but if they found a way to win a title, which again, Natalie, I know you're hoping, they will probably have the worst regular season road record of any team that's ever won a title.
Yeah, they will, and that's why
they will.
Steph will be another thing to put on his belt. Another thing to put on his belt.
I should have said that to her. Hey,
Natalie. Hey, you know, Sherrod, I hope Natalie has some sick days, because when the Warriors don't win, I know she won't want to come to work. She won't want to come to work. So
I don't duck.
Just take some days.
I don't duck.
Take some time. Oh, you're gonna be ducking.
I don't duck.
Oh, you're gonna be ducking.
And don't
good to see you, Sherrod.
Don't let them get swept.
Oh, that's right. That's
oh, please.
Right.
Oh, please. Y'all just be saying things to say it.
Used to play it humble, but now I step in my greatness. One regret I got is the shit I missed from my lateness. Plotting on the ring, they say I should do the Lakers. Fuck that loyal shit. What if Reggie just left the Pacers? I'm a one-to-one, you dummies better wise up. I done made it a personal goal to lift the guys up. I'ma take my time until the time's up. Crazy how they change and shift the blame, what a mind. Took a couple L's for niggas to get the jug. You win, and in the end, for me, we can call it good. When people can't see the big picture, misunderstood. It gets sticky like the woods, but it's love like the wood.
All right.
Bars.
First of all, you like the flow? You like the flow?
I like the flow, but what he was saying was whack. I don't want to hear any more about his loyalty.
You don't want to hear about it.
Don't want to hear about
it. Hey, listen. He is speaking. He's on brand. Dame's on brand. He knows exactly what he's known for, and he gives the people what they want. I don't know, but as far as you do a freestyle,
it's an annoying brand, but he's on brand.
I want to see a LSU versus Portland freestyle. That's what I want to see. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.